All right, it is 7:01. I'm going to call the regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. Our first item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Selectman Muska, would you please lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All members of the board are here and present. I have two items I'd like to add. I just handed them out. One is an acceptance form from Connecticut Water, and the other one is a partial advance payment agreement, also from Connecticut Water. Both pertain to the Scout Hall Community Center project. Can I have a motion, please, to add that as agenda item 9E?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sabo, I gave you one, right?
Yes.
All right, so our first item of business is the approval of the minutes from October 3rd, 2024. Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes of Thursday, October 17th, 2024, regular meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
Second, but it's October 3rd, not the 17th.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Today is the 17th. The minutes are from the 3rd.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We got you. Are there corrections? Selectman Muska.
Yes, under public participation on page 2, in regards to Courtney Severino's comments, what's listed there is not an accurate summary of her comments. Her comments were in regards to the change in employment status you have to become a town employee to work as a poll worker. And she was expressing how and when she was informed on this change and how she wasn't going to be paid for her hours worked due to this change. So I would like her comments to be changed so it reflects accurately what she stated.
Okay. Are there other corrections? Seeing, did you have any more? Okay. So on the minutes as amended, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Public participation. This is one of two opportunities for members of the public to address the Board of Selectmen. I'll first provide the opportunity to anybody who's here in the room, and then I will turn to anybody who's joined us online. If you'd like to address the board, please identify yourself by your name and your address, and then state your business. Is there anybody here present who would, yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Rutland. Discussing the architect situation at the community center. For sake of that is as-built plans, as-built drawings being made. I don't know how the drawings get updated. Don't have one, but the end result is extremely important. That what's on paper agrees with what happened. I'm not telling you how to get there, but that is a major concern. We've run into in town many occasions of things that happened back in the 40s and 50s where the as-bills were totally bogus. And that could happen 40 years from now, 50 years from now. That's not a good idea. So that's just my comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Additional comments from members of the public? Would anybody else like to address the board? Is there anybody online who would like to address the Board of Selectmen? I'm going to wait a second because there's somebody who is in the process of joining. There she goes. Good evening, Noreen. We're in public participation. Is there anything you'd like to say to the board, or are you all set?
Good evening. That's it.
We appreciate the brevity. Okay, we'll have another opportunity later on in the meeting. Under communications, we have three. The first is a proclamation that I issued in commemoration of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The second is a proclamation in commemoration of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And the third is a letter from the Warehouse Point Fire District relative to the drone program. So those are FYI, although we will come back to that in some degree in a minute. All right, reappointments. We have Arts and Culture, American Heritage River, Planning and Zoning. And I do have one note. Bernard Duffy has indicated that he does not want to be reappointed. So that's something that should be considered when we're making these motions.
I was just gonna say, you want to take the list?
For six.
Six?
One? Yeah,
No,
no?
because we're gonna need to come back to that after 9A. We need to renew the charge and then we can seat the members. So we should postpone those first six and then come back to them.
Okay. Okay, then I move to postpone 7B 1 through 7 until after 9A.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That brings us to 7B8.
Okay, I move to reappoint David Leeson to the Planning and Zoning Commission as a regular member for a term expiring November 1st, 2028.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 7B 9 through 11.
Can we take them as one motion?
Yeah, they're all for the same commission for the same term.
I move to reappoint Rebecca Davis, Richard Sherman, and Barbara Sherman as regular members to the American Heritage River Commission for terms expiring November 1st, 2028.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say, publicly thank those three because they're probably on the top of the list of some good people on that board, so. Just want to say, appreciate them stepping back up again.
Agreed. Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. So at our last meeting, you all had asked that we hold off on accepting the recommendation from the building commission until we had heard back from BRD. We have heard back from BRD. They have a few very slight amendments to the contract, one of which being that their name was incorrectly listed, so that's a correction. The memo basically tells you what you need to see, but I will pull it up and share it. That's the copy that I needed. They're not terribly substantial changes. They are looking to make sure that if an engineer was changed, that it would be done by mutual consent of the contractor and the town, which makes sense since they're the ones who would be dealing with them most directly. The parties have all agreed, including the engineer whose stamp would be used for the as-built, has agreed to stay in place. BRD is comfortable with that. The town is comfortable with that. USDA is comfortable with that. The red line is what they're requesting for changes. They're not terribly significant, but this is what you asked for, and this is what we have.
Jason, I've got a question.
Mhm.
We're going to be paying for a licensed engineer to do this review work,
We are paying.
paying for another it says a licensed engineer outside of the original consultants hired by SIA, SJA, maybe used. We have to agree to them, so,
May also be used.
right, but it sounds like we're gonna end up with it says change order, construction change order. So if we're gonna pay, it doesn't sound like it's gonna be part of their cost. They're charging for the additional outside engineer if it's used, or an inside engineer, but we're gonna pay for the cost for reviewing the work that the architect would have done, apparently, or certifying.
Which is what we were doing anyway through the architect when the architect was alive.
Right.
It's the same practice, except the middleman being Mr. Jaeger is obviously not part of the plan anymore. But he would have billed us as part of his agreement to, for any of the subcontractor work, which we're now just going to be billed directly.
Why wouldn't we just hire the architect that bid out for this to have to replace the architect rather than have BRD bill us for an engineer to do the work, the review work and the certification that the architect would do? And it comes back to, I mean, I'm just not understanding why, if they're not accepting it as is and say, we're gonna do it, they're saying, we'll do it as long as we get paid to do it. Do we have an estimate of how much it's gonna cost for them to push it through them versus just hire the architect in the first place?
A lot less than portal to portal from Shelton
Well, the driving time.
is compensatory.
Yeah, but the architect isn't gonna be spending most of his time driving back and forth. They do work out of their office. And then they do their work from an office typically. I mean, I'm not so concerned about the portal costs. I'm concerned about we hire people all the time that drive around and they charge us for it. How do we know that this engineer won't be driving from New York or something? I don't know. I'm just questioning the fact that we're gonna pay for a person. I'm mostly satisfied with the fact that we're gonna have a licensed person signing off on everything. And that's what we need to satisfy the attorney. That's what we need to satisfy USDA. That's what we need to satisfy the building commission. That's what we need to satisfy ourselves. So I'm going to vote for this if this is what the board wants to do. I'm just raising the question about the fact that we are going to end up paying money, in essence, additional money where we could be looking at just hiring the architect. But I'll do whatever the board wants to do because if we all agree we're going to do this, then we're all getting the protection that the town needs for this particular project. So I guess that's my point. I'll support whatever the board wants to do. I'm pointing out we're just going to pay more money to have this person do it versus just hiring the replacement architect.
I don't think that's an accurate statement. We're not paying more money than having the architect do it. We're paying money to have a professional do it.
Right.
And the question is whether you hire the only architect who bid, who would have to then charge us for the time to review all of the plans that are already in place and half completed, versus paying the engineer who's been on the project since the outset.
Just
And actually
finish
just
up.
before the outset.
Yeah, I understand.
So to say we're paying more money is not accurate.
We're
We're paying money, but we would be paying money to somebody. And in this case, we're not redoing half the project's worth of work.
Yeah, I think maybe I was saying we're paying more money than the base contract to the builder. We're paying this in addition to the base contract to the builder.
Which we were formerly paying to Mr. Jaeger.
Right. So again, architect's an architect. We're replacing the architect, but I'll vote for whatever the board wants to do. We're getting, as long as we approve this process, we're getting protection.
Anybody else?
Just some of this verbiage. So where it says it may also be used, when will that be determined if there is one used?
By mutual consent. That's their whole point, is that if there is an outside one that may be used, both parties have to agree to it and who it is.
Mm-hmm. But we don't know the cost of that or what it could be.
No, it would be whatever the contracting cost is.
I would think based upon the research that I've done, architect services are pretty much done, if not completed.
Yeah.
So this is just to cover those concerns, moving forward. So I see that as a non-issue.
Well, my question is, so this is entitled a modification to the contract and then the last term is the remaining agreement provisions. So is this the whole thing? Or when we approve this, are we approving this and the original contract?
Yes.
Okay. So we have to specify that we're doing the contract that we saw last.
That's really what that says, other than as altered by this modification, the existing terms and conditions remain in full force and effect.
Right, we're approving this document. So it's
The contract is-
another.
The previous one is the contract between the town and BRD, which we did last November.
Okay,
Which will still be in effect.
okay, got it.
And that was claimed
Good.
there for
Yep.
that purpose.
Make a motion to authorize the first selectman to sign the modification to owner contractor agreement between the town of East Windsor, Connecticut and BRD Builders for the East Windsor Community Center project.
There a second?
I'll second it.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay. Mrs. Williams. Good evening. Actually, you know what? We're gonna come back to you in just a second. We're gonna renew your commission, seat your members, and then your turn is up. All right,
Or I know Jennifer sent out an email to me asking about members wanted to remove. And then I forwarded it to them, and I'm not sure if anybody except Bernie got back.
everybody except Bernie got back. He's the only one who didn't. Or he did, but he didn't want to be renewed. So on this document, the appointments, at the top of it, there is the charge. So it has the establishment date. Terms are 18 months after the creation of the committee. The committee shall be charged with collaborating with other boards and commissions to identify both indoor and outdoor communal areas throughout East Windsor that can be aesthetically enhanced by establishing arts installations and creating community events and promoting tourism. Committee shall report to the Board of Selectmen not less than annually, but may report more regularly as deemed necessary and appropriate. I think they have far exceeded what our expectations have been. So if somebody would adopt that as a motion to reconstitute the committee, I would entertain that.
I'll make the motion to renew the Arts and Culture Committee as stated.
Second.
Any discussion?
I definitely agree with you, Jason. They've really gone above and beyond, and they definitely have fulfilled their charge. So look forward to what's to come.
Saturday morning.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now, let's go out of order and take up 7-1 through 6.
To reappoint Sharon Apria, Christina Posniak, Kristen Bloom, Karen Stavalo, Deborah Williams, and Russell Williams to the Arts and Culture Committee for regular members for terms expiring April 21st, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. And although we're not going to act on it, I just want to thank Bernard Duffy for his participation in setting up that committee and the good work that he has contributed as they've gotten to this point. Okay, now we're on to,
Because he withdrew, but it's on the agenda, she should make a note in the minutes that he withdrew his name.
yeah,
So that.
Sabo, you got that? You make a note that Bernie Duffy did not want to be reappointed. Okay. So now we're on to a discussion and a vote on the Arts and Culture Committee's request for Sustainable CT matching grant. Deb. Yeah, tell us.
So Sustainable CT will, is a fundraising platform. Well, one of their functions is to help you towns in Connecticut fundraise. And so I put together two projects for the Warehouse Point Library and Done, and I presented them to Sustainable CT. And they had approved the projects, but I didn't realize I had to get permission from the Board of Selectmen first to use them as a fundraising platform.
And we're going to be basically serving as the the fiduciary authority for
Right.
you, as we have done for the Better Together grant recipients, which is different, but similar tack here.
Correct. So all of the funds raised through the finance office, collected by them, and then we chaptered it to the project.
So for clarification, I wasn't aware of that, so thank you for the education. I thought that if they came in and put that they were going to be soliciting donations and they were going to funnel through our treasurer with our approval, that I didn't think they had to do it for each and every time they got a new beneficiary.
This is a sustainable CT requirement. This isn't a town of East Windsor requirement, right?
Thought it was not reasonable.
Is it a sustainable CT requirement?
I don't think so, because we're already a registered town.
Oh.
So we can automatically.
I mean, to cover them, I don't have a problem proving it, but going forward, I think we need clarification because I don't think they need to do it every time they come forward. At least that was my understanding. Or,
By what means will you be fundraising for it? Will it be like a GoFundMe or something, like how?
That's probably.
Right. So how will the fundraising be done for this?
So you create landing page and people can go to and donate online. You can also see check. And the funds will go to patronicity. So they actually then collect the funds and then bundle them in a check to the finance department. So they won't have to collect.
are we doing another picnic table at the reservoir?
Correct. Painting, picnic table, and also mural installation.
Oh, the library. But we're not doing another,
The picnic table is also at the library.
oh, so picnic tables both at the library and the others both at the library. Okay, that answers my
So the
question.
library's already, the picnic table is already delivered and primed.
Okay,
So I'm just gonna have to raise funds for that.
I just assumed, I know that's what you said in there, but in my mind, I assumed the picnic table was going to the res and that was going up there. And I'm saying, we already got one up there.
So we're estimating the project will cost no more than $3,000. So it'll be on us to raise 1,500 and we'll scale the CT.
I just think we make a motion to support the project.
Yeah, that's okay. I'd like to make a motion that we support the project as presented by Debbie Williams of the Art and Culture Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, there's no handout for this. So you guys know that we have been working, the town, police department, the fire departments, and our insurance carrier to try and establish a drone program that will support our emergency services. In the communications earlier, I included a letter from the Warehouse Point Fire District that they weren't interested in participating in this fashion and they were going to kind of go their own way. We have tried to work with KERMA to square away some of the concerns raised by Broadbrook Fire and others to get all of our T's crossed and I's dotted to get this public safety program up and running. This is still going to work. It's just not going to work the way that we had hoped that it would, I think. And the easiest way to do that is to simply take one of the two drones that was purchased at the end of the fiscal year and convey that over to the Broadbrook Fire Department. The other remaining new drone would stay in the custody of the police department and replace their antiquated one so that thereby the same goal, which is the two fire departments and the police department would have updated available drones to support each other's public safety work. It's just the cleanest way to get this done as quick as possible instead of having these things sit in a closet for however long it's going to take, which is where they have been. Chief Carl, is there anything you'd like to add to that? Okay. Chief Arcari, Assistant Chief Bancroft.
Appreciate the support and we're looking forward to making this work.
Questions, comments, concerns?
I have a question. I thought last time we were talking about a lease agreement and all the technicalities of that. I remember that. And then I remember the two fire departments would receive one of them by lease. And then I kind of said, I'll say it again, I thought the fire department should purchase their own if they're gonna have their own it. And then the Warehouse Point now is saying they're gonna buy their own. So shouldn't Broadbrook buy it? And I'm not saying they gotta pay for it out of this year's budget, but they could pay it out over 10 years or something if they're gonna own it or.
So the thought is,
Yeah.
if I could speak, is that, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Burrow, but this was money that was put into this program, and we envisioned it working a lot like when we came to you a year or two ago about the thermal imaging cameras. That we bought, it was a group effort, they would be distributed to us, our property, done deal. In my opinion, it was purchased by taxpayer money, even though it came from the chief's budget. Why are we gonna charge the taxpayers another $13,000 to go buy our own when we've already got one? It's easier to just transfer it over to us. It's a wash.
So I appreciate that. I didn't know, so historically, it sounds like the initial purchase of the drones was as part of a collaborative effort. Because I was mistaken. I thought that they were originally purchased for the police department and then the fire department wanted access to them. So I stand corrected. So it was part of a collaborative effort to make the purchase of these. It was going to be utilized by way of a lease. Warehouse Point doesn't have any problem with us transferring over to Broadbrook, I take it. Okay, so I accept that. I appreciate that. I didn't know that historically. Because otherwise, if these were police departments drones and then we were transferring them over, then I would say you guys should pay for it. But if it was part of a collaborative effort to get the drone system going for both fire, and by the way, I don't know if you were here last time we were talking about this, maybe you were. I mean, I really do understand the benefits for drones at both crashes and at fires and for police and for fire. I've looked into this. It's really beneficial and it's going to be increasing in the value, right? As you have good operators and you make use of it. So I'm really highly supportive of it. So I take back what I said because you guys had done this from a collaborative.
Yeah, it's still gonna be a collaborative effort. It's taking it, we're not gonna participate in this agreement with the police department to assist them and them to assist us when needed. That's still gonna happen. It's just a lot less red tape to transfer them so we can get this thing going rather than trying to please Kerma and documents and forms.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
Yeah, I guess I'll ask you and then you can
Okay,
go through the chair. That's the appropriate way to handle it, but, the insurance issue, Cromer is not going to be insuring that drone that's going to the Rybrook Fire Department. They're going to pay it themselves, the insurance.
right. Who do you guys use? McNeil?
We use McNeil Company. It's already in our policy. The drone itself was 13 to 15,000. Our policy covers a drone up to 25. We've got 4 million liability on personal property and injury. So we're covered. We're all set to go.
Then my second question is, Chair, the policy that we attempted to put in place collaboratively that was rejected. I now have a concern with the Warehouse Point Fire based upon this letter here that they're planning on buying their own. Unlike the Broadbrook Fire Department, who was an entity of us, this was a district separate from us. We have no control over them, but we don't have a policy in place for drones outside of the emergency management operation.
Well,
So is that going to be a problem for them without them realizing it's going to be a problem for them?
no, they're autonomous. They're established by a special act of the legislature. They have their own territorial jurisdiction. They have their own insurance coverage. They set their own policies.
The town sets the policy for drone use, correct? Or at least that's where I thought the conversation was going last meeting. That people were concerned about, somebody flying over my house.
So
They can park in front of my driveway, but that's okay, but I don't want to fly them over my house. kind
they
of
actually
thing.
can't fly over your house, but
Yeah,
so the police department has an existing very rigorous policy. Broadbrook Fire has an existing policy. I don't know if Warehouse Point does or does not, but they all have to adhere to FAA guidelines. And that's what the policies are predominantly based on, is making sure that you have the two people with a line of sight, making sure you have the ceiling, making sure that you are not more than, is it 200 feet below cloud cover? Is that what it is?
Below
500.
500,000 horizontal.
So all of
So
those,
as long as they all follow the FCC guidelines.
FAA
the
guidelines, yeah.
FAA guidelines, that's all that's required by law, correct?
that's all that's required by the FAA. And then it's up to the individual entities and their insurance carriers and their policymakers to decide what their policies are going to be.
So then there wouldn't be any liability to us as a town if Warehouse Point Fire Department crashed into somebody's house. That would be all their insurance.
Right.
And they would handle all the, if any lawsuits that might come out of it, that would be their headache, not.
Right,
the town's.
and not dissimilar from when the Warehouse Point Fire Marshal was in a car accident on Route 5 and 140 in a district-owned vehicle.
Yeah.
They brought a suit against the town, and the town was released from it because they're not our employee, it's not our equipment.
Okay.
There's no us there. So,
It's going to be named in a lawsuit, it's whether or not it's going to stick or not. They're trying to get money from everybody.
Right, yeah.
deepest pockets.
But I just want to clarify, because there was so much conversation last month, and regardless of whether or not I knew that information already, I wanted to make sure it was out there for anyone that may be listening to the meeting, that they have clarification of what the policy moving forward is, and it's not a planning and zoning regulation or a town regulation, it's the FCC, and
And then when the agreement is going to be, when the fire department's assist the police department, they lack the patrol officers to do it themselves, that we will have to follow the policy. Like, it's not, that we're going with ours and have a nice day. It's gonna be collaborative, and we're gonna have to know their policy and follow it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Chief, anything else?
No, I'm just, I'm excited that I support all of this. I was sorry that the warehouse point, we couldn't work it out with the warehouse point with the intended, I think nobody really realized that it was gonna be, the democratic process was gonna be as difficult with all the red tape. But we're finally there, we're good to go. I can transfer, you guys are good, I can transfer all the 5 minutes. So,
It's in the back of the cruiser.
It almost was in the back. Ready to go. We're excited because, listen, this is, I said it before, and I'll say it again, all the time, public safety. I think it's pretty, it's gonna be good, it's gonna be good for everybody.
Selectman Baker, anything from you?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, may I have a motion to convey one UAS aerial drone from the custody of the town of East Windsor to the town of East Windsor Broadbrook Fire Department?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I was going to ask if we could add something to that, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
I couldn't get it up fast enough because, I have that problem going on.
So what were you
I
looking
would,
at?
a friendly amendment that we make sure that it's in compliance with insurance and all the necessary licenses associated with that use.
Not at least.
She said use.
I said use.
I'm good with it.
All in favor of the motion as amended?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Tax refunds.
Move to approve the tax refunds totaling $137.97.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we're on to 9E, the public fire hydrant and protection acceptance form and the partial advance payment agreement from Connecticut Water Company. So when a water line is extended by a party, in this case, the town is the party, the second document, the customer's refundable partial advance payment agreement, is what Connecticut Water uses. And then they back out the costs against the permit payment based on what was actually used. It's a percentage of the total project. That's thing one. Thing two is the public fire hydrant and protection acceptance form, which is something that we need to sign off on anytime that there are hydrants extended along public spaces.
Excuse me.
So these are two things that are required in order to install the water line that is going to feed the fire suppression system at the community center. this is a time is somewhat of the essence circumstance because the construction season that's allowable for work in the road and paving of that work is coming quickly to a close for the year. They're trying to get this done before it's too late in the season to do that. If we don't act on this with some due haste, it is likely that the project will be delayed and it will be as a result of an action town, which means that any additional delinquencies on the part of the contractor, they would be able to argue were precipitated because the town didn't give them the opportunities that they needed to complete their job on time. And then we won't be able to recapture the delinquent fees that are included in the original contract.
Jason, I have a question.
Sure.
How are we getting this money back from the builder then, if we're paying it up front?
It's not something that's paid for by the builder, it's something that's paid for by the owner.
So I've asked at public building commission meetings, I've asked a variety of different places. Mr. Sauerhofer has said, public building commission has said that this is within the builder's obligation. The builder is paying for this. I've asked very specifically about whether or not this is part of the who's paying for this, and I've been told
The project is paying for this.
I've been told it's in the bid, the builder's paying for this. So that's what I was told. That's what we've been told.
I've always understood it, that it was just part of the project.
It is part of the project. The bidder
Full
is
cost of the
doing,
project.
the bidder is doing the work, but the cost of the water line is in the project. This is the permit. That's not part of the project.
So again, we had a bid of like $3.9 million.
3.625.
And then we heard at the Public Building Commission that there's literally like another, like Mr. Sauerhofer said, they're spending up to $4.7 million.
Yes.
So the town never, we approved a bid, and it looks like another $900,000 is being spent above the bid.
So the voters approved $4.72 million.
Up to, and then the bid came in at 3.7.
So the bid did not include the totality of the project. It included the construction work of the project.
So who's managing all of the spending for this $900,000? Because Public Building Commission said they don't have that information. They don't know who's managing that spending. Things are being spent, they're not going out to bid. I appreciate tonight we're dealing with this water thing. We were told that the water expense for the water line is included.
No, the water line is included.
But I knew it was going to be $300-something-thousand above the bid price. Who is managing the spreadsheet of all the money, that $900,000 that's being spent? A lot of it without bidding. There's no bidding on the expenditures over $20,000 out of that 900. Who's managing that? Like, who's got the spreadsheet and who's approving that?
I think you're misrepresenting quite a lot of that.
I don't think I'm misrepresenting anything about that.
So the project is paid for, 80% of it is paid for by USDA dollars, 20% of it is paid for locally. We are the first 20% of the $4.72 million. Everything thereafter is the federal dollars, and those are reported on a monthly basis by the finance department to the USDA on a spreadsheet that's provided to us by the USDA.
So we can find out, anybody can find out by getting a copy of the spreadsheet to USDA about the expenditure of including this. This is part of I assume this is part of the $900,000, right? Fits within under the $4.7 million cap, right? Because people have been asking for, I think Lori DeRocher came to a meeting and she said, where is the list of all these other expenditures? And why aren't they being bid? Because somebody's got to bid, and the Public Building Commission doesn't even know about these other expenditures, and they're not handling any bids. And again, I don't even know what the cost of the water line is now, because the permit cost is $325,000 in the
No,
builders.
that's incorrect.
It says right here.
That's the water line cost. The permit cost is 147.
It says the cost here, the agreed estimated cost of construction is, who's paying the 325? That's what I was asking.
That is part of the project.
Is the builder paying for that, or are we paying for that?
That's like saying which hand is the money in. It's coming out of the project cost. Are you asking who's paying it directly, or?
So the problem I have is that it's bid out of.
The company that is going to install the water line is employed by the builder.
Okay.
The builder then bills us for that expense.
The public approved a referendum up to $4.7 million. And then the project was bid out and it came in low. And it also came in low partially because the basement was removed. There was a lot of changes that were removed, okay? And so we got a bid and everyone is happy. We got a bid at $3.7 million instead of the original cost of 4.7. But it turns out we're actually spending 4.7 because someone is spending $900,000 and it's not going to the PBC. It's not, where is it? I mean, where is the public disclosure of this $900,000 that's being spent on top of the
So
bid?
you're off topic. The thing that's in front of us is whether or not to issue the permit from, or to apply for the permit from Connecticut Water so that the fire suppression system can be put in.
I'm not off topic because this is part of it. This is part of the spending that's happening without really the public bill. Okay. So we have to pay tonight, we have to approve 147,574.25, or are we approving $325,000?
147.
And this is for the advance payment on the estimated costs that are listed here.
Correct.
That include not permit fees. These are like labor, materials and equipment, inspections of as-built, water quality tests, well, zero for that. Contingency fees, overheads and service connections. None of this is permit fees. This is all installation costs.
Because Connecticut Water approves the vendor who is going to do it.
But we're paying for the installation costs.
Yes. And then,
Not the builder. Okay.
no, that's not true.
So the builders, we're paying out of the town, we're paying out of town money. The builder's not paying it out of the money they're being paid under their bid.
Say that again.
We're paying it out of town money. The builder is not paying it out of the money that they're receiving for the bid.
We're paying it out of the project cost. Yes.
Not the builder's not paying for it. Okay. Well, listen, I have to vote for this
Well, why
because
would the builder pay for it?
the Public Building Commission said that they were paying for it. They notified us that the builder was paying for it, and they notified it was within.
Who's us?
And when did that happen?
Who's us?
At a meeting of the Public Building Commission, I asked, who's paying for this water line to come down Abbey Road to connect with the buildings?
So you, not us.
Member,
Just for clarification, you said us, and I don't know anything about it.
Right.
So please clarify.
members of the public have asked, who's paying for this? The Public Building Commission and Joe Sauerhofer, who was there, said that the builder's paying for this. And tonight I'm learning it's not the builder paying for it, it's we're paying for it. So I'm just questioning it. I have a right to question it because it turns out that's not true.
You're questioning the
You're
problem.
splitting hairs.
You said us.
So that's what you
It's
hear.
all coming out of the project money,
So,
right?
so the reality is this is a $4.7 million project. It's not a 3.7.
It always has been a $4.7 million project.
Bid out at 3.7. That's the,
For the construction key, that doesn't include things like FF&E. That doesn't include things that are not part of the brick and mortar piece of it. But we have federal funds, which the federal government has approved on multiple occasions, including monthly reporting to complete the project, not just put the sheetrock on the wall. There's more to it than that.
so the builder is not building us a completed building. They're building us a building.
The builder is building us a completed building. They're not providing things like furniture, electronic equipment, lights that are, that type of thing.
So when I asked, I can ask the finance director for all of the sheets that went out to USDA for all.
It is
this.
provided to them monthly.
Okay, I'll just get the list. I'll ask her to go through that. Okay, we have to vote for this because there's no water. You said that this is for the water suppression system, but I was told that and maybe correct me, this is the water for the building. This is used for drinking water and flushing the toilets and everything else.
It will be used for that. It's currently on a well, but we need to run the water line for the fire suppression system. It will have other functions when it's there, but absent the need for the fire suppression system, we would not need the water line.
Yeah, so I asked about that. I'm just saying, and I was told the well would not be providing the water for the building.
That is true.
Because the well you can't have a multi-million-dollar building that has public coming in and out and run that off that well.
Because of the fire suppression.
Right. The well is not deep enough or big enough to handle the fire suppression system if they need it. That's the problem.
Well, we wouldn't want a building operating on a well anyway for public use like this, would we?
Why not?
Has been for 20-something years.
The use of
I
that.
drank the water there. I'm still here.
I didn't say anything about the quality. The use of a building by hundreds of people over what it's been used in the past.
Right, whatever. You're right.
No, he's not.
I know.
He's wrong.
I'm wrong?
You're being
How am I wrong?
ridiculous.
I'm
You're being
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
The
Yeah,
old
you're being
use,
ridiculous. The water is good. The water's fine.
I didn't say anything
It
about
just-
the quality of the water.
You
I talk
said
about
you
the volume
can't
of
have
water.
people, it makes no sense. We're having this is a ridiculous conversation.
Okay.
If you're gonna,
That's not respectful at all.
You're right.
It's not, you're saying this, you're right, that's not respectful.
Keith, if you're gonna run,
Right.
we're gonna run the water line,
Right,
you might as well take advantage of that and get off the well
right.
and put it on that, and that's what this will accomplish.
I agree. That's what I thought was
It's all
happening.
pretty obvious, right?
That's the end. So as things,
That's more sarcasm.
as things change in a project, as you know, it changes all the time, projects change.
Right.
And if something happens and you can take advantage of something else that you normally wouldn't be able to afford to do, you just add that in there. Why not?
I agree with that.
Thank you.
May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to, you need to sign this, right?
Yep.
Authorize the first selectman to enter into the agreement between Connecticut Water Company regarding the public fire hydrant and protection except that's law.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? And then the second piece. Customers refundable partial advance payment agreement.
I get this right on number 9 here. It says if anybody else connects to it within 10 years, we'll get reimbursed some of the money.
Yes.
It's interesting. I didn't know they did that. It's cool.
I have a motion.
Motion to authorize the first selectman to sign the customer's refundable partial advance payment agreement.
I can't.
I have a question about this.
So.
This is boilerplate from Connecticut Water. I'll do my best to answer it, but
The back of the.
If somebody wants to make use of this water line that's on Abbey Road and connect to it, they have to pay part of the original cost of installing it.
yes.
Why would the town pay for a water line down the road out of our town funds and then require people to reimburse us for the portion of that? Shouldn't we have, I understand we need to sign this, but shouldn't we have a policy that we're not going to require reimbursement for a town paid water line? I can see that they pay their connect costs if the water line's in the road, but why are people going to be charged the installation for this water pipe down the road if we're paying for it out of taxpayer dollars in the first place?
So like in the instance of, let's take a different situation.
Right.
Like Canyon, the mansions in Canyon Ridge. If they extend that water line, that applicant pays for it,
For that extension.
for the extension.
But if
Right?
someone else
So then if
wants to-
somebody, another apartment building down the road within 10 years
Right,
adds to it, then they have to,
Right.
the original guy gets reimbursed some of that. Seems kind of fair.
no, I was saying along the original, like, let's say they go
Right.
Canyon Road and someone is sitting there along that road and says, hey, I want to get water lines, it's already paid for. They have,
No, if the main is there, if I want to connect to it, it's in front of my house. There's nothing there. What they're saying is if they extend the main
all right,
for the next guy,
yep,
right, then the original applicant gets some of that money back.
fair enough.
As I said, it's boilerplate. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. All right, selectmen's reports. On October 4th, speaking of the facility, the town celebrated the installation of lights at the Abbey Road Soccer Complex. This added amenity is designed to enhance the soccer experience for youth, high school, and occasionally for adult soccer players in the community. We had a fantastic night. Selectman Muska was there as well. We had more than 200 people in attendance to watch the game. And we sincerely hope that this will continue to bring people in our community together long into the future. Thanks to State Representative Jamie Foster for securing the state bond funds that made this and our new playground in East Windsor Park possible. On October 5th, I joined a few dozen fans at the grand reopening of the Battle Standard in Geisler's Plaza. This is an exciting place for people who love the world of gaming. And this isn't like video games or computer games. This is table games. This is role-playing games. This is, it's a real community. And one of the upsides about a place like this is it gives people who are interested in that type of leisure activity a place to congregate together. It's It's a focal point, and it's a unique place in our part of the country for the model that they have. Not only do they have a significant gaming place, but they also have food. They have light adult beverages. They have ongoing leagues for the same game that has been going on for, I think, more than 6 years, if I'm not mistaken. It is really something that is special and worth people checking out. Today, I attended the legislative breakfast hosted by the North Central Connecticut Chamber of Commerce. The chamber provided an opportunity for all candidates running for office in the 4 towns that they serve, which is East Windsor, Suffield, Somers, and Enfield, to have an opportunity to introduce themselves to business leaders and to chamber members. Next Thursday, the Haunted Highway is back. The police department is looking forward to coming in second again. This is a family-friendly event that will be held on Thursday, October 24th at East Windsor Park. Town agencies, businesses, and community organizations will have decorated booths and hand out treats to kids in a walkthrough format. They're charging $5 per family. So don't forget to vote for best booth, and you can also vote for the police department. I'm going to do that a couple more times while I'm at this.
I'm voting for the police department.
I'm probably going to too. I will say last year we had 16 booth, I think it was 16 booth participants last year. As of our senior staff meeting yesterday, we're at 27. So this is a wicked cool community event that is continuing to grow. It's a healthy competition where the police continue to let other people win. And the goal is to, I see Ben rolling his eyes. But the goal is to make sure that we're doing something really cool for kids. This is a great night to be from East Windsor, and everybody should go, whether you're a booth participant or bringing kids or grandkids, or you just want to walk through and see it. It is really awesome. So youth basketball registration is now open. That's something that you can find more information about by going to eastwindsorrec.com. Our social services department is putting together baskets for families in need in the community for the holidays. And they're currently soliciting donations of turkeys or $25 gift cards. If you want to learn more about that or make a donation, you can stop by social services or call them at 623-2430. And one thing that's still a few weeks away, but I do want to flag, and in all seriousness, thank you to the police union for their support with this, but our Stuff a Cruiser event this year is going to be on Sunday, December 1st, not on the Saturday, but on Sunday. This is an awesome event where members of our police department engage with shoppers at Walmart, and they get a ton of donations to support the giveaway programs that our social services does every year. It's a really fun event, and it would not be possible without the help of our friends at the department. So thank you guys very much to you and your team. That is all I have. Maria stepped out, so I'm going to turn to Sarah.
On October 7th, the Warehouse Point Fire Commissioners met. There were 51 calls and 29 inspections completed in the month of September. The commission and chief discussed the proposed lease or license agreement from the town in regards to the drone and decided not to enter into the contract and purchase their own, as you already heard about in communications tonight in a letter from their chairman. On October 8th, I attended the Arts and Culture Committee meeting. The committee was established 3 years ago, and I'd like to congratulate them on their 3-year anniversary and recognize all the projects they have been a part of. A few to note include the murals at the Trolley Museum and Elementary School, an open mic night, and 2 successful arts and culture days. The painting of the crosswalk between here and the elementary school is set for October 26th from 1 to 3 p.m. with a rain date of Sunday, October 27th. There is a Facebook event set up on the Arts and Culture Committee Facebook page where you can sign up and receive notifications for updates. A flyer has been put out in search of a poet laureate, as we discussed at our last meeting. There's 2 that they're in search of. One is 18 years of age and older, and then a youth position as well. If you are interested, please submit a letter of interest, 3 samples of your work and ideas for programming to ewartsandculture@gmail.com by November 6th. Just a reminder that the Veterans Day Road Race is November 8th this year. You can sign up online at www.plattsys.com raceconnection.com, or you can sign up in person the day of the race. The price does increase by $5 for the 18 years and older category on the day of. And then just to thank the town for recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Today is Purple Thursday, why I have my purple shirt on, to raise awareness about domestic violence and honor those survivors and encourage those victims to come forward for help if they need it. And that's all that I have.
Thank you. Kate?
I'm good, thanks.
Oh, nothing tonight.
Great.
I'll report next month.
Okay. We're going to turn to the second opportunity for public participation. Same rules as before. I'll turn first to anybody in the room and then provide the opportunity to anybody who may be with us online. Is there anybody in the room who would like to address the board? Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Green Sherry, People Street, Barbara. We have all these drones and they're insured. Are they insured for collision? Insured for liability?
Yeah, they're insured for both.
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, with question. Or selectmen plan to meet on Halloween night?
No, nor are we scheduled to.
Okay, I didn't look at the schedule, thank you.
Oh, first and third. So that's a fifth Thursday.
A week off.
Okay, right.
Is there any other public participation? Is there anybody online who would like to address the board?
Jason Noreen Farmer, 247 South Water Street. I also wanted to just thank you for reappointing the Arts and Culture Commission or committee for another 18 months. They've done an outstanding job in town. More projects than you can probably even keep track of. They do outstanding work, and thank you for making sure that got done.
Thank you very much. Is there any other public participation? Hearing none, a motion to go into executive order would be, into executive session would be in order. It's to include Chief Matt Carl, Deputy Chief Ben Murphy, and Attorney Josh Hawks-Lads.
Move that we go into executive session at 7:58 PM.
For a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in executive session.
This isn't going anywhere.
It's 10 o'clock. We're out of executive session. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 10 o'clock.